So today I'm making a hodgepodge of stuff. um, Need to find a plan for dinner tonight and tomorrow out of what I got. So actually, let's take a look. So, as you can see, I have a ton of really great ingredients with which to make dinner. Yep, I definitely went grocery shopping this week and planned for a full week of meals. So let's see what I can cobble together to make with this. This is what we have for options in the pantry, right? So like, I really need to go grocery shopping. Okay. First thing that caught my eye. So I've got a lot of frozen vegetables, but no stock. So let's get that started. I also found two chicken thighs. I think I'm gonna make kind of a pot pie. I don't have a lot of butter, so the pie crust might be difficult, but maybe I can do like a biscuit or dumplings, maybe chicken and dumplings. I also found some ground turkey, so I think I'm gonna get that started and put some vegetables in that for a chili. I have some canned beans too, so that's two things for sure that we're gonna try to work on. All right, I have switched gears on this ground turkey. Instead, I'm gonna make a meatloaf because I got this ketchup where we broke the bottle and we had to freeze it. What better use of that? It's a meatloaf, right? I've also got box mashed taters and mixed veg that can go with that. The mixed veg can also go with these chicken thighs. So yeah, I'm liking this one. This one's coming together good. I need to keep brainstorming on what we're doing with that. All right, I pivoted away from the chicken. I pulled out another frozen turkey puck. And what I think I'm gonna do is make pasta for tonight. So I've got a wee bit of noodles left, but this should be enough for us for dinner. The noodles grow. Everyone who's ever made noodles knows this. Like they just expand magically in the pot. So this might not look like a lot, but I think it's gonna be a lot. And I'm gonna put carrots and tomatoes in this tomato sauce and this onion. I'm gonna like cook all those down with the turkey. And then we're gonna have broccoli on the side, right? So that's it. That's an option. That's the option I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'm liking it. So first things first, I gotta thaw all our frozen things. So I'm gonna just put them all here in a big bowl. I'm gonna put water in this, and we're gonna set it aside for a significant amount of time until these start to thaw. Check back then. All right, I'm gonna get some stuff sliced up for this pasta sauce that we're gonna do. And I'm just gonna let it simmer. Gonna let it simmer on the stove. I don't know, until it feels ready. So, I've got my partially used jar of pasta sauce. Got actual tomatoes, some carrots, and onion, and garlic. And honestly, my plan is just to throw it all in this pot and hope for the best. Let me get some liquid for this. I am working a stock over here on the stove. So I'm gonna use my stock to rinse this out and get that in there. Seems like a good idea. As long as I don't burn myself. All right, got my boiling liquid here. Alrighty. Yay. I've got some more tomato paste too. We might need that. just so that this has full tomato flavor. But I'm definitely gonna get all these tomatoes in there. They're looking okay, but they definitely need to be used. I bought these, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's time. It's time. And as per usual, my dishes are a mess. So I certainly don't have the proper knives for this. We're just gonna make do with what we have though, and it's gonna be fine. Man, this knife didn't even cut all the way through. Come on. I know I need new knives. It's on my bucket list of things that I want. Just hasn't happened yet. Such is life. So, I'm starting to think about what I might want to make for dinners this upcoming week. I want to include some meatless options. That's been a request in my household. And I also want to include some meat options because, well, I'm a carnivore. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do tacos, which could be meatless or meaty. I don't know. I keep just tossing the ends of those tomatoes there in the stock pot since I got the vegetable stock going anyway. I don't really have anything to that needs to be used up in the fridge or the freezer, so in terms of meal planning, I'm gonna be buying. I actually need to do a stock up. The kids are out of their morning snacks that they get before they go off to preschool and daycare, and all they have is goldfish, which is fine. But sometimes they don't want goldfish, and they get dropped off at school. They wake up a full 3 hours before they start breakfast at school, and they get dropped off at least an hour and a half before breakfast. So they need a little snack in the morning. So I need to buy those for sure. And I also just need to kind of stock up on some pantry goods, on fruits and vegetables that we want to snack on for the week. The kids, and me too, okay, I'm guilty of this. Love ranch. We love ranch dressing. So we often will have sliced vegetables, cucumbers or something with ranch as a snack. And so I need to acquire some slicing vegetables to do that with. Don't really have any at the moment. And then we have fruit at least every day. I mean, it's a very common request in the house. Everyone loves fruit. So that is something we definitely need to acquire. And there's all sorts of options at the Lidl. So we'll see what they have. Hopefully they have something other than just apples and oranges. They usually have melons if they're in season, and they'll have berries too. So we'll get that. But I'm kind of out of inspiration as to what to cook. I guess I'll just have to browse the internet for some recipes. All right. Man, this is not the right knife for this. Upside, I haven't cut myself, so that's something, I guess. I think a whole onion might be a bit much for this. I'm gonna just put that much. Put the rest of this in the stock pot. All right. Now I definitely understand carrots are an unusual choice here for this. But I figure, you know, it'll add some sweetness and it will add some vegetables to the pasta. So we're doing it. Wow, I cannot cut this with this knife. Slices it is. Slices it is. So that means that once this sauce is done cooking, I'll probably let the pot go for an hour. Gosh, I guess I'm gonna have to blend it. I didn't really want to do that because I want to put meat in this. So maybe what I do, idea, is I let this cook just until the vegetables are tender. Then I blend it. Then I add the meat. Yeah, this is sounding like a better idea. And so then the meat will be not blended. That would be really weird. That would be a very strange texture, I think. Alternatively, I guess I could blend it now, but I think that would be weird with the carrots. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Let me get some more liquid in this from our stock pot. And then we will season it. We will season it with some spices and herbs. All right, so that's 1 cup. Let's do 1 more cup. I'm gonna just put this on the burner. You're not missing anything. Oh, forgot the herbs. Oh, it's been a day. I don't know about anyone else, but when I've had a bad day or a rough day or just a long day at work, which this one was, it's like my brain just dies. it just stops working. So, got that. And then we're just gonna go Italian seasoning here. Generous amount of Italian seasoning. The other was garlic powder that I elected to put in. And I put a little bit of paprika in just about everything. It's delicious. And we'll toss a bay leaf in here at the risk of me not remembering that I put a bay leaf in here. So let's do 2. Alrighty. Now this is ready to go on the stove. And just sit until we're ready for it. Do I have a spoon? A little stir. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I do think adding some tomato paste to this is going to be a good idea. Let me grab that from the freezer. So I'm thinking maybe 2 little frozen tomato paste chunks. All right, come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Y'all ever give encouragement to your frozen goods? There we go. That's 1, 2. 2 should do it, right? Yeah. That's what we're gonna go with. Alrighty. I bought this can of tomato paste last June. Used 1 tablespoon, and I've been slowly working through it ever since. We just don't use tomato paste that often. Tomato sauce, yes. Diced tomatoes, absolutely. But tomato paste, just not really. Not really very much at all. Okie dokie, so that's going. Meanwhile, I had also planned on making a meatloaf today. So let's get that going, and we can get that in the oven. Meatloaf, meatloaf. I like a meatloaf. I might be in the minority there, but I actually really do enjoy a meatloaf. And this one, we're gonna keep it simple. I think I actually might add carrots to this too. Maybe we're not keeping it simple. Maybe we're making it a little fancy. Now in hindsight, I wish I had saved that other half an onion for the meatloaf, but that's fine. I thawed this earlier in the day just for this purpose. So we've got ground turkey, a little juicy, and gonna do 2 pounds of ground turkey, approximately. Didn't weigh it. I got one of the big packs and then I just divided it up into little baggies. To this, I'm going to grate these carrots so that they are in a little more manageable size. I do recognize it's kind of an odd choice to put carrot in meatloaf. I tend to use meatloaf to get rid of stuff in the kitchen. So, you know, as long as it's not going to be off-putting, I will hide all sorts of things in the meatloaf. And my kids generally like vegetables, which helps with that a lot. Now we need to season this. So I'm actually gonna go for the seasoned salt today. Although I need to not use too heavy a hand because my spouse is sensitive to salt. And I'm not sure if it's because the seasoned salt is like a finer grain maybe, but I don't know. I feel like it gets salty way faster. This is garlic granules. We need more than that. We're gonna go with like that much. Then we're gonna go in with onion powder. Yep. And then we're gonna go with thyme. I like thyme in this. Hefty amount there. And then a little bit of mustard powder. There we go. We also need Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Where are you? Hold on, I know it's around here somewhere. Meanwhile, I've got real parsley. I don't need parsley flakes. Hold on though, where's the Worcestershire? Alright, it's gotta be back here. Huh. Well, should I run out? Oh, found it. Worcestershire. Worcestershire? Worcestershire. Anywho, we need about that much of that. We need it for the topping too. And I also need in here an egg, at least one egg. We might do two. And breadcrumbs, so let me get those. Ooh, feels like we're light on eggs. Well, we have 2 eggs, so I guess we're gonna use 2 eggs. All right. Gotta wash my hands, Aggie. Alright. What else did we need? Breadcrumbs. Well, let's just do all of that one. And then we might do some more out of this one, depending on how moist it feels. I think we need a little milk too. We're just winging it today. We're just winging it and putting a little bit of everything inside. Ooh, we don't have any milk. Well, we don't have any milk, so this is what we got. Just gonna mix it up with my hands. It's the best tool for the job. In this and a lot of other things too. Let me get a pan heating on the stove. I want to fry up a little bit of this just to see if it's seasoned well. I just put this one on the stove, get it hot. And we'll make like a little teeny tiny patty. Doesn't need to be bigger than a teaspoon, just enough to taste, to see how it's working. Does anyone else do that with meatloaf, or do you just get to the end and hope for the best, you know? Like, maybe I seasoned this well. Definitely think this needs a little bit more breadcrumbs, but I'm gonna get my little patty here. A cute little teeny baby patty. I'll put that on the stove. Let me wash my hands. Alright, meanwhile, in here, I think we need just a little bit more breadcrumbs. I know that looks like a lot of breadcrumbs, but the meat, because I had frozen it and then I thawed it, it was just a lot juicier than maybe it ought to have been. So the breadcrumbs will help with that. And we're tasting our mixture. We're frying up that little piece because with having added so many breadcrumbs, we might now need to add a little more seasonings to this so that it is a balanced mixture and it's not just bland. No one wants a bland meatloaf. Nobody. But I get my dish sprayed. And while we are waiting for our little sample, we're gonna make the sauce. So to make the sauce that goes on top of this meatloaf, we need ketchup. This is a lot of ketchup. What happened is I had almost a whole full, almost an entire full bottle of ketchup that was dropped on the floor by a member of my household and it broke. Now, the bottle didn't break so badly that it wasn't salvageable. It was really more so the lid that broke. But without a lid, there was nothing we could do with it. So, we saved it and we put it in the freezer until today. I just thawed it today. And I'm gonna use it for, I guess, a very generous amount of sauce to go with the meatloaf. Now, we like sauce. We're a sauce-loving family. So I don't think by any means that we won't be able to eat the sauce. But it's certainly more than I ever would have made for a meatloaf. This is easily 3 times the amount of sauce I would have made. So, what went in here was the ketchup, brown sugar, more garlic, Worcestershire, more onion powder, and I'm also going to add black pepper. Probably need that in the main mixture too. So, yeah. Gonna get that in here as well. Pepper, pepper, pepper. Alrighty. Making sure I turned off the right burner. Yes, I did. Yay me. Now we need to mix this up. I would have loved to have a whisk for this occasion, but as per usual, all my dishes are dirty. So we're gonna just mix it with a spoon. Yes. Mix it with the confidence of someone who at one point followed a recipe and is now just trying to remember what it was. That's what we're doing. All right, let's taste it. I think it needs a little bit more brown sugar. It's tangy, which is good. Woo, that might be too much. Oh Lord. This is what happens when you just dump the bag over. Let's take that much away. That's the oven. It says it's ready for the meatloaf. All right. Trying to get, there's some lumps from the brown sugar. Trying to get that. And tang is good. I just didn't want it quite that tangy. Let's try again. That's much better. All right. Now to try our little meat patty that we made. All right, here's my little meat patty. I'm gonna try it first plain. It actually tastes pretty good. But now let me dip the other side, the non-bitten side, okay? The non-bitten side into the ketchup mix just to see what my final product is tasting like. Honestly, that's good. Good enough. Good enough. It does not have to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. And I think with the ketchup addition particularly, it helps. But I wouldn't call it bland. I wouldn't call this meatloaf bland. It tasted pretty good. Guess it depends on what your expectations are of a meatloaf. Maybe my expectations of a meatloaf are pretty low. I wish I had saved that other half an onion and put that in the meatloaf too. That could have been something really special, really delicious. Oh well. Live and learn. There's all of our meat. Oh, gotta press it down into the corners. There we go. It's doing pretty good. Let me wash my hands. We'll put our sauce all on top. Now I'm going to be very careful to not touch this spoon to the raw meat because I do not want to poison my sauce bowl with raw meatloaf, okay? Because I have a lot of sauce here. I want to be able to serve this on each piece, especially if we do something with like meatloaf sandwiches with it, because this is more than one meal's worth for us, right? So we'll have leftovers, and the sauce needs to not be contaminated with raw meat. So there we go. We've got our sauce on. Now this is hitting the oven. hitting the oven. And let me get a storage container for that. Because by the time I kind of will be eating it, this will have sat out for too long, right? So, food safety. Getting this put away. All right. And when I put something away, I have to label it so that we know what it is. And I put the date as well so that it is crystal clear how long it's been in the fridge. So it's February 29th, Happy Leap Day. And this is meat loaf sauce. Perfect. All right, what was the next thing we were gonna make? Oh yeah, we gotta return to the pasta. So, what I can do now is I can get my pasta water going if I can find my pasta pot. Don't tell me my pasta pot is dirty. It isn't. Good news. Good news. So, what I think I'm gonna do is utilize more of the stock that's on the stove to cook the noodles. Because that seems like a good idea. Add some flavor to them. Now I have two kinds of noodles. So I'm gonna cook the elbows first and see how that goes. If it looks like it's not enough, then I will cook some broken up lasagna sheets. But I'm thinking the elbows will probably be enough for this without needing any more. They just don't look like a whole lot of noodles. But I'm not looking for multiple days worth of meals out of this. I'm really just looking for enough for 4 people. For 4 people. All right. So I'm gonna get this going on the stove. Do. And I'm gonna add some water to that too. And I'm adding water back to the stock pot because I can make more stock. The meatloaf's gotta cook for like an hour anyway, so might as well continue on my journey here. So that's gonna come up to a boil. This is the amount of noodles that I have. So see, it is not much. Okay, I know it is not much. So we'll see. Might need a little bit more of that. Let's take a second to clean up. At least a little bit here. I'm not chopping any more vegetables. This can go. The meatloaf bowl needs to go. Trash from the tomatoes and the egg carton needs to go. Much better. Yeah. All right, I am gonna keep this spoon for the pasta sauce. All right, amazing. The addition of that few tablespoons or maybe just a tablespoon of tomato paste in the sauce was a good idea. It's thickening up over there. Also gonna put away this can. All right, mashed potato time. We're using a box mash. All right, we're not making anything fancy. And unfortunately for me, I don't really have anything with which to make it fancy if I had wanted to make it fancy. So what I'm gonna do is just start off with my boxed potatoes. This is just the remainder of this box. And I don't have milk, but I do have the stock that's on the stove. Honestly, hadn't really thought through how helpful it was going to be making the stock today. But what I'm going to do is just use this stock to rehydrate my potatoes, and then I will add whatever butter I have left to help make them moist and creamy. But yeah, kind of limited. These mashed potatoes are going alongside our meatloaf. So let's stir this up, see how it's going. Oh, I have no more spoons, except for this one. Definitely need another cup of stock. Let's get that. To scoop this out, I just put the strainer inside the large stock pot, and then I can use the hole that's made. Let me just show you. Hold on. Look, mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay. So by putting the strainer in here, see, it makes this well in the center where I can easily pull from. And that's how I'm getting all this stock to use for these different things. I'm just scooping it straight out of there. So yay. All right, back to this. And actually, in order to stir, I'm gonna have to put you back, so. Patience. All right. So, just trying to make sure all that potato is hydrated. It does not feel like it is yet. A bigger spoon would be great for this. A whisk would have been great for this. But here we are. We do what we can, and we just make the rest work. All right. Do, 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 do. All right, let's taste it just straight up without anything added to it. Do I have any? Yes, I've got a baby spoon. All right. It's definitely a little bland, but I haven't added any salt yet. Adding the pasta to my pasta pot. It's boiling. All right. Let me get some salt for this. We're going in with the seasoned salt again. A little bit heavier handed because potatoes, they need a lot of help. Okay. Woo! They need a lot of help. I realize I do not need a potato masher, but in lieu of having a whisk or a big spoon or anything, this is the tool that we're gonna use. All right, so we've hit it with that. We're gonna hit it with butter. All I have is the last half a stick of this vegan butter. So we're going to cut this into some slices. And we're gonna say this makes, I don't know, maybe 5 servings of mashed potatoes. So I wanna have at least 5 slices of butter in here. 1 for each serving. All right, we've got just a wee bit of butter left to put back. Now, the other thing that I wanna add to these mashed potatoes is a little bit of pepper. Not too much. And I want to stir my noodles. We're doing multitasking. Multitasking. Okay. And then we will try it here and see. Actually, let me go ahead and put garlic and onion powder in here too. I guess it's just the flavor of the day. Onion powder, garlic, amazing. I want to get this nice and stirred. I actually like the texture that has come out of this. All right, now I used the back of the spoon last time, so I'm using the front of the spoon this time. That's good enough. That is good enough. And man, I just want to say, like, if you guys aren't making your own stock, you really should, because that stock is doing a lot of heavy lifting with the box mashed potatoes there. All right. We need to get the potatoes put up, and of course I just got rid of my spoon. That was just super smart. I guess the pasta spoon is being reutilized. I'm gonna have to go wash this. But there we go for that. And I'm gonna let this cool on the counter for just a little bit because it is very, very warm. Washing off my spoon. Don't want to put mashed potatoes in my pasta sauce. Perfect. Alrighty. Now, our pasta sauce has been going for quite some time. I would say probably somewhere in the realm of 10 minutes. I mean, you guys would know better than I would. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get this in my blender very carefully. You can see where the tomato, oh, the bay leaves. Did you remember about the bay leaves? Bay leaves. How am I gonna fish those out of there? Ah, tongs. Tongs. So that's one, but I'm pretty sure there was more than one. Oh man. It's like an expedition. Where are the bay leaves? Oh man. Okay, Are we seeing it? No. I wonder how bad it is if you eat bay leaf. I can't believe I forgot that in there. Actually, I can. It's been a long day. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna strain the pasta. That's what we're gonna do before anything else. Pasta has been strained. What am I gonna do with this? All right, first things first, it is not in there. So, I'm gonna take the sharp thing out and we're just going to pour the sauce back. There it is. Found the bay leaf. All right, so now we're gonna just kind of start fresh. All right, I'm gonna put this back in. It's happy. Going to dump this back in. Okie dokie. And while we're doing this sort of rearranging of the pasta sauce, we are putting ground meat in this. It's another one of these packs of ground turkey. So what I'm gonna do is just get this here in my pot so it can start browning up while we blend that pasta sauce and taste it and reseason as necessary. So let's get that back on the stove. We're not wasting any time today. All right, in here, need a lid. I have a lid. Yay me, alrighty. Gonna blend this up. Oh man, it wasn't plugged in. Killing me. All right. Now we're ready. Blended. We're gonna give it a taste with a fork. So I have no spoons left. This is what it's looking like. It's definitely orange, more orange than tomato sauce usually would be, but we did add carrots to this. It smells good. Okay. It's a little sweet. It's a little bland. We're gonna go in with garlic. Garlic, my friend. Garlic solves a lot of issues. We're gonna go in with onion powder. We're gonna go in with more Italian seasoning. And I'm gonna add thyme to this because I think thyme goes well with the ground turkey. So we're gonna do just like extra that. Meanwhile, our ground turkey's starting to cook up a little bit. So that's good. All right. What else should we add in here? Maybe just a skosh of salt. All right. Let's see how this does. We're gonna reblend this just for a minute. Okie dokie. And now we're gonna taste it again. Another fork. That's actually really good. That's actually really good. We're gonna go over to the stove now. We're gonna get this in there with the meat. And I think as a final dish, I will add some cheese to this, but it tastes pretty good. Yeah, so this is what our ground turkey is looking like. So you can see it is browned up some. I also have burnt a little on the side of my pan, but we're just gonna call that extra flavor for now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and in this state, add my sauce to the meat. Gonna take out the sharp bits. So that I can get every last drop of that out of there. And I'm just gonna let this go on the stove. I'm gonna turn the heat down to a medium. And I'm gonna let this go until the meatloaf is done. And that will be, I think, a really delicious and flavorful sauce. I gotta wash this spoon, but that's where we're gonna leave it for now. And I will get y'all back with me once we have more done. All right, it is now some time later. Not quite sure, I was working on the dishes. But I think our sauce is in good enough shape to go over our noodles. This is how many noodles that made. Is it enough? Nope. No, it is not. However, if I were to mix the other kind of noodles directly into this, my kids wouldn't eat it because it's not the same. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out, half of our sauce. This is certainly enough for 2 people, but I do think we would struggle if this was the portion for all 4 of us. I just don't think there's quite enough in here. And since this is something that is going in the fridge, I'm gonna do a little bit more sauce because the noodles will absorb some of this liquid while they are in the fridge. All right, I want to put cheese on this. We've got some mozzarella. Oh man. All right, so some mozzarella is now in here. I'm just gonna mix it a little bit so that it's not all on top. I'm making a mess today, I'll tell you all that. All right, there we go. That's some pasta for tomorrow. Now, I need to work on my other noodles. And this was the pot that I need to let this cool before I lid that up. This was the pot that I was making the sauce and I boiled the other noodles in. So now I'm gonna have to put the new noodles in a new pot. Oh man, I made a mess. Alrighty. Don't feel too guilty because these were all broken in the box anyway. Just getting all these little bits that were broken anyway. Quite satisfying, that snap, isn't it? Those sheets look pretty good. Ooh. Can't begin to describe my disappointment when I opened up this lasagna box. It's not very often I make lasagna, so I bought it specifically for a recipe, and then they were all broken. I'm like, seriously? I had barely enough intact sheets to make that lasagna. It's ridiculous. All right. That is enough for one small lasagna in the future. I've saved six sheets. Now with all of my little bits, I get some more of the stock going. Probably use this pot for that. And we'll get these bits cooked, and then we'll mix them up with the rest of our pasta sauce. While I'm waiting for my newest set of pasta water to boil, I'm just gonna make my label for the pasta that is done. 229 pasta with meat sauce. And now I think it is cool enough to go in the fridge. Still a little steamy, but certainly cooler than it was. And I'm gonna make a container for the next pasta, the one where we still have to make the noodles. There we go. That way I can get this off the counter because we know that that's going in it. I'm gonna put the lasagna away. And I think I'm gonna get started writing the labels on my Ziploc bags for my stock. So I am still letting the stock go for quite some time, but it's not forever, right? So the trick is trying to estimate how much I think I have. I think I have, I don't know, maybe 20 cups, 30 cups. So I'm gonna start with 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this stock is going in the freezer. That's why I'm putting it in some freezer bags. So it has to have the date, 2/29/24. The quantity, I always put 2 cups in this. And what it is. This is stock. 2/29/24, 2 cups. 2 cups. Sometimes I write what kind of stock it is. So this one had mostly vegetables. I did end up putting some chicken bones and chicken skin in there, as well as a few pieces of ham. Because man, we just have a ton of ham in the freezer. And I thought that it would help make the stock more delicious. So I used it for that. And I do sometimes cook for vegans, but generally if I make a stock that is purely vegetables, I clearly label it as such so that I know what I can or can't use when I have guests over. Ooh, I hear our pasta boiling. You know what? I actually don't know how long these need to cook. And the box doesn't say because it's oven ready lasagna. So we're gonna go for maybe 10 minutes and just see what happens. Yep. We're gonna just see what happens. Bam. All right, we're kind of just at a waiting point. We're at a waiting point. So I think I'm gonna sweep up the cheese that I spilled, but we'll check back in when there's something to report. So I just tasted the pasta. It is cooked. I have strained it, and I am putting our weird lasagna tidbits in this bowl. I gotta waste. It was either gonna be weird lasagna tidbits in a lasagna or weird lasagna tidbits in this, you know? And I do want to scrape out the little tidbits from the bottom of my bowl too. You know, I probably could have mixed it in the other one, but I will. Here we go. Yay, tidbits. Good. I actually remembered to turn off the stove, so double yay for me on that. Going to mix it in here after all. See, look how delicious that looks. Is it perfect? No. Is it something? Yes. And while I did have a little something earlier, I'm definitely having a little second supper now with this. I just get myself a scoop. Yep. Cheesy. So there we go. Now we definitely have plenty of pasta between this and the other container for dinner tomorrow. Huzzah! We did it. It's gonna be delicious. And honestly, it was just kind of made with the random leftover bits of stuff that I had around, which is even better. The meatloaf is almost ready. I tested it a little while ago with the meat thermometer while I was waiting for the noodles to cook, and it was at 145, which is not a temperature I'm comfortable with for meatloaf. So I put it back in for another 10 minutes. I'm shooting for 165 for that. Pasta with meat sauce. Perfect. And I'm definitely gonna let this cool for a little bit before I put the lid on. I'm gonna enjoy my pasta. I have turned the heat off of the stock so that it can cool down a little bit before I start handling it. And we'll check back when the meatloaf's done. All right, it's time to see how it's gone in the 10 minutes since I last checked on this meatloaf. So first of all, that's what it's looking like. Amazing. Where is my meat thermometer? Oh yeah, we're at 164. It'll cook the rest. It'll cook the rest just sitting here on the counter. So I'm gonna let this sit and cool some. I'm gonna let this sit and cool some. And then we're gonna regroup with getting the stock packaged up. Because if I don't package the stock up on the same day that I make it, sometimes it doesn't get packaged up. And that's not what we're in the business of here. So.
So, I gave it, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, enough that the meatloaf cooled to the extent I could put foil over it and write the date and stuff. And then I grabbed the stock pot off the stove as well as some vessels with which to capture the stock. I did decide that I needed some ice in there to help cool it down a little faster. I can't put, boiling liquid into a zip top bag. Um, and I certainly shouldn't put boiling liquid into my freezer. So I got as much stock as I could out using the method that I was talking about earlier, and then I just had to strain out the chunky bits. No better way to describe that. But I use old grocery bags for this because it does help in terms of giving me a place to put all of the remains from the stock. Um, So that's what I have set up for myself. And I continued to strain it. I don't press too hard on this because I don't want a weird vegetable puree inside of this stock. I had included, oh, if my brain would even work, I did include some pieces of ham and some chicken bones in this. So, you know, there's going to be fat that settles on top, and that's okay. But thank you if you have hung in here for the duration of this video. When I was filming this earlier in the week, it just didn't occur to me sort of the camera angles and stuff, and that's something you don't really think about when you're not a videographer. And so, watching this back, I have some takeaways for next time to improve, and that's going to be okay. But I always store my stock in the freezer in 2 cup increments. That seems to work best for us. So I actually measure that out and put it to 2 cups in the zip top bags. But this has been, this was a very busy night, and I hope that you have had a lot of success in whatever you have been multitasking while this video has been on in the background for you. Um, because sometimes it's just nice to, get your chores or your work or whatever done while you're listening to someone else. So I hope it's going really well for you. And I just can't thank you enough for hanging out with me this evening. Um, we needed to get this stuff done, and it was a late evening, but honestly, at the end of the day, it was well worth it. I'm very relieved to have this stock made. I use stock a lot, so that was great. And now that it's several days later, I can confirm the meatloaf was universally loved. Everyone enjoyed it. I ate the bulk of the pasta. No one else seemed to like it, which is fine. That's just how meals go some days. But it was hearty enough and kept me full on several days of really intense yard work. So no complaints on the pasta from me anyway. But gosh, sometimes you just have to get creative in the kitchen. And that's what this night was all about for me. It's using up what I had on hand, getting creative, getting something that would fill our bellies. And again, thank you so much for coming along on the ride. Until next time, see you later.